Zoila, I am so glad that you're in house and you took the time out of your day to come in, talk to little old me.
Thank you for having me.
So I know you from some of the, I don't want to say like original days of MMA, but for me, when I started MMA, when I started getting into martial arts at all outside of high school wrestling, it was, I didn't even know what the UFC was. I knew WEC
Okay.
and Strike Force. Like that,
Yep.
that's what I got inundated with. And then for some reason, I started flipping through channels and like right at Spike TV, like past Comedy Central for all those old cable heads. I was like, oh my God, like this is basically like WEC. I didn't realize it was the other way around. The UFC was kind of groundbreaking at the time in the sense of what it was doing for combat sports. And of course, it would create ripple effects, right? So like obviously there was Pride overseas, but for the US audience, I didn't even know what Pride was. The UFC, WEC, Strikeforce, and Bellator are a lot of the frameworks for my origination in the sport.
Yep.
So to have you in, for those that don't know, you were the first ever crowned female champion under the Bellator banner.
Correct.
Around its inception when Bjorn Rebney was the president of the company. So this is kind of like, for those that might know Bellator, they think of Scott Coker. This was actually prior to Scott.
Yep.
Can we, before we even start to unravel, what it was like to be a champion, the first champion, X, Y, and Z, let's start with what getting into martial arts was like for you, because it wasn't as commercial as it is now or as popular. And I'm sure, not to sound bad or anything, but even to be a woman in that realm was also as fringe as it could possibly be.
I mean, where do you want me to start? When I was a kid or when I got back into it?
Oh my gosh.
Does
it go back that young?
I was in Taekwondo when I was young. So as far as like martial arts goes, it's kind of like what I think every child or a lot of kids do. My dad was a black belt in Taekwondo, and then I think I was around 10 or 11. He got us into Taekwondo, so it was myself and my older brother, he's about a year older than me. Did that for a couple of years, got into a lot of competition with that, so and I loved it when I was young. And then when my parents got divorced, we ended up moving, and then that was the end of that. So played a lot of other sports, mainly stuck to soccer, and I ran. And then I didn't really find Muay Thai until I was just about done with soccer in college. So, and it was just me running to a group of guys that were training in a Gold's Gym, I guess, boxing room.
No shit.
And then from that point on, it was just I hit the ground running with it. I fell in love, and I went pro within a year. And within about 18 months, that's how long it took me to get that Bellator world title. So it was just like,
Oh my
go,
God.
boom,
Within
boom,
like
boom.
3 years of you starting to train in more.
Yep.
Can we take a step back? So you were at a Gold's Gym, I'm guessing not looking for martial arts, just looking to...
No, I was actually, I was recovering from an MCL surgery, or not MCL surgery, I'm sorry. I had ACL surgery. MCL injury playing soccer in a co-ed pickup game. So I was just in the gym lifting, just trying to heal that. And I would always see these guys in that room, and I'm like, that looks really cool. They're punching and kicking pads, and they're like working with each other. I guess they were like sparring, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. I did Taekwondo when I was little. I'm like, I'm doing soccer now. I did it for so many years that I was just kind of, I wouldn't say tired of it, but it was just, the same thing over and over again. And for me, I was always trying to find a new challenge, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. So I would stop by, look at them in the room, and then the coach, Jasper Tayaba, I do this because he's short and he's small. He would see me like peeking into the room every other day or so, and then one day he came up and he's like, hey, you want to come try? And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that. He's like, what kind of sports you play? Because he could tell, because I was always like sprinting or doing something. And I was like, soccer. He's like, same thing. Just come tomorrow. And I'm like,
Is it though?
Yeah, exactly. Not at all. So I came the next day. I went in the next day, and I just fell in love with it. Like I was there every single day after that. So it was just mainly Muay Thai. But that was pro Buhawe. So those are the guys that I started with. But a lot of them were wrestlers, turned MMA fighters. A lot of them were fighting professionally already, and I mean, they didn't have any girls in that room, but I was just like, it's a challenge. It's something I want to do. And
were you even aware of MMA being a thing before you started seeing them train?
I knew there was kickboxing for women because I had a cousin that was fighting kickboxing, so I knew there was that. But I didn't really, not until I actually dove into it. That's when I started seeing Gina, and not really. It was just like something I wanted to do. I knew I could kickbox, so I just wanted to actually just try it and see where I could go with it.
And when you started training, did you have the idea to at one day compete, or at first glance was it just this looks fun?
Yeah, at first it was this looks fun, and then I started training with them, and I started to realize that they were all actual fighters. And I went to like a fight or two, and I was just like, oh my god, I want to do this.
Oh, okay.
Like I want to compete. I want to do this. Yes, and that's when the coach was like, you're really good. Like you pick up really fast. You're an athlete, so if you want to, you can. I had a couple of smokers, which were like glorified sparring matches. After that, I couldn't get any amateur fights. It was like within a year, and nobody wanted to fight me. So he's like, oh, we can go pro. And at that time, I was in California, so all you really had to do was go in front of the athletic commission. I don't know if it was the athletic commission or CSAC, and they had to see you hit pads, roll a little bit, and then they were like, okay, you can go pro in MMA. So I was like, we couldn't find any Muay Thai fights, so my coach was like, it's fine, you're athletic, just stay off the ground.
Just stay on the
like,
ground.
I don't know how much that's gonna work, but after the first couple of fights, I'm like, maybe it will work, you know. I won the first fight, second fight, third fight, fourth fight, and you know, they were all MMA, and it was like I felt like an amateur. It was I don't know. I fell in love with it, but it was also one of those things where it's something completely new. The adrenaline, the conditioning, like everything about fighting, like I just loved it. And then I ended up coming up against Misha Tate, and of course everybody knows she's a wrestler, she's a jiu-jitsu girl, and I had zero of any of that. And that was in Strike Force, and she had me my first loss. So I had to regroup, learn some jiu-jitsu, get into a wrestling room, and
in hindsight, though, not the worst person to lose to.
No, exactly.
That
not
one
at
aged,
all.
That one aged a little well.
Yeah, I'm like, it was a higher weight class. I was like, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing with my hands. And then I learned quickly that, okay, I guess I need this stuff. I can't get away with not having it.
Out of curiosity, do you think had there been more competition at the amateur level, you would have stayed amateur longer?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I now that I look at everybody that's, been an amateur for 4, 5, 6 years, I'm like, damn, like I felt like that entire first year of my career was amateur. I didn't feel comfortable until like 7, 8 years in when I started
you were fighting professionally and at a high level.
Yeah.
Yet you didn't get comfortable fighting until a while.
Not at all. Like even up into that world title fight, like I watch it and I'm like, I was just throwing with just bad intentions, was just moving a lot. I was like, this was terrible. I hate watching these fights, but got my hand raised each time. So I was like, I was doing something right.
Has there ever been a fight that you've watched of yourself where you were content with the performance?
Not completely, but I would say against Jamie Rivera because she fought my sister. And then the Rosie Sexton fight because I was supposed to be completely demolished, and that's what got me into that world tournament for Bellator.
The reason I ask that is because whenever I talk to fighters, we seem to be our own worst critics.
Oh, always.
And that we'll watch, like I know I'm this way. Like I'll watch amateurs fight, and I'll be able to pick out like, oh man, you did this really well. Like good job leading the jab, or your feints were on point. And then I'll watch me fight, and I'm like, oh my god, everything's awful. I need to work on this, that, or the other.
Oh yeah.
I asked if there was ever a fight like you were content watching back, just because I didn't know if you are of a similar ilk where you were watching yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, let me point out the 20 things I'm doing wrong here.
I mean, even in those fights that I won, that I did great, there are still a bunch that I'm just picking apart every little thing. Okay, yeah, that was only 2 minutes. Yes, that one was only 2 minutes too, but I can pick apart that whole, minute and 30 seconds where I didn't do anything I liked what I was doing, but I was reacting the ways I was supposed to, movement, balance, just the way I was moving my head, until I started landing like actual shots. And then when I was landing shots, I was picking that apart too. Like, I should have did this. Oh, I should have went up and down. I should have went to the body, then the head. And I was just like, oh God.
That's so savage.
And it's never perfect.
2-minute fight. Oh, I could have fixed these things.
Yeah.
Fucking blowing some girl's face up.
Yep. But,
What was it like at those... I want to be careful how I ask this question because I'm trying to be respectful, but I also want to ask it candidly. obviously at the early days of MMA, the female division wasn't as socially or commercially acceptable as it is today. You hear the terms like pioneers thrown around a lot. You know what I mean? Can you walk me through what it was like being a woman at that time coming up? I'm sure it was difficult finding fights, obviously, because of your amateur career. So number one, just finding girls to compete against. Number two, was there ever like a question of, you know, like the legitimacy of your skill set compared to your male counterparts? And then what it was like on the commercial side, because obviously you're negotiating with these promotions the same as the male fighters. Was there ever like a distinction in pay? Was there ever like kind of additional stipulations that we would be surprised to hear about?
Where do you want me to start? Because as far as like pay goes, I have a lot of stories when it comes to that. But as far as, let's see, where did we start?
Let's start with, because females MMA was not as popular, it was difficult to find fights. So we were alluding to it slightly, where you couldn't have the amateur career that you wanted to because there just wasn't the fights to have. And obviously you were kind of like a scary girl. You were freaking blowing through people, so I'm sure not a lot of people wanted to fight you. So you have to go pro, but then I'm sure it's still difficult to find the fights and the right matchups for the promotions.
It was, which is one of the reasons why it was hard to find local fights. So fighting a local MMA or
in California
Muay Thai fight was incredibly difficult, which is why we had to go to bigger promotions that could pick from girls from different states and had the money to pay those purses so they can, you know, bring these girls over. So there was that. It was difficult to do that. And then even
did the promotions, forgive me for interrupting, did the promotions ever make you feel like they were doing you a favor by doing that?
Every time.
You're lucky to get a fight.
Even though I knew, because, you know, I played sports where I was like a 4-year varsity letterman in soccer. I was a runner. My family ran. So like the Frausto name wasn't a small name in that area. And then I had a lot of friends. I played a lot of sports. I knew a lot of people. So it was like, okay, well, you want me to fight here in California in the Central Valley because I can sell a lot of tickets. And I did sell a lot of tickets. So even if they came to me with, well, we're doing you a favor, it's like,
no, bitch.
I have the receipts, actually, of how much money I made. And I would keep those receipts. So it's like, you want me to fight, I can fight, but I can also get you paid, too. So I kind of deserve to be paid as well. So there was that, dealing with that. As far as gyms go as well, is it's hard to kind of get the respect of your male counterparts. Because it was like one of those things, you know, a lot of guys would see girls, and I mean, there are some women that give us a bad name when it comes to going to the gyms, and, you know, they're going in for the wrong reasons. And for me, it was like I had been an athlete all my life. I had been a competitor all my life. No, I wanted to do this because it's a challenge. I wanted to do it because I actually want to fight. I'm not going into these gyms to find a boyfriend. So that was one of the challenges as well, was just to try to gain respect from, you know, the male teammates, to just actually see me as a teammate and want to work with me. Because it's like, well, what are you really here for? I will show you if you just let me, you know, stick around for long enough and work with me here and there. If not, then I don't need your help, you know? So it was just one of those things where it took a while to get respect from
your peers.
Yeah, from my peers. And but I earned it though. So
yeah, I mean, God bless.
I definitely earned it, which is weird now, because I'll walk into the gyms, and if it's an MMA gym or if it's a Muay Thai gym, for people that have been around, I'm still, you know, it's weird to me that people still know who I am, and they're just excited to have me at these places. And I'm like, you know, this is what I love to do. I'm just here to train. It's not, I don't know. I'm not a superstar. I mean, maybe back in like 2010, I did something great, you know, but other than that, it was like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's still weird.
I think you're being a little humble. I think I like that you are like that, but I mean, the achievement, the crownings that you have achieved, the people that you have fought, I mean, you should be proud of what you've done up until now.
I mean, I am.
I know that pride is deadly sin,
but I think it's not as big as it is now. Then it wasn't, you know, like our UFC was Bellator, but it still wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, you fought MMA? And then, you know, people actually dig and find out who I am or what I've done, they're like, oh, that's actually pretty big. I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, it was our UFC back then, but it's not nearly as big as it is now. So,
if you don't mind, I want to take a step back. You were making the comment about like keeping the receipts as a ticket seller and as an athlete. And one of the things that frustrated me the most about fighting was this like wearing of two masks. On one hand, you're telling me I have to train hard, I have to make weight, I have to be here on a certain date, and you want me to perform, whatever that looks like. You know, you don't want me to just take the guy down and lay on him, so you want me to be exciting, you want me to be all these things. Oh, you want to do an interview with me? Let me sell this fight. I'm going to beat this guy up. You know, all these other things. And on top of that, you also want me to kind of take up the mantle of the promotion and sell my own tickets, which I always thought was so weird.
It was a difficult thing to do too.
Are there other sports? Like, do the Cardinals have to sell? You don't see those guys like on the corner selling, hey, you want to come to the baseball game?
And you know, it was always a difficult thing to do too, since like you're training, you're eating, you're sleeping, your nutrition, you're checking your weight every morning. You got, you have strength conditioning, you have boxing, you have Muay Thai, you have drill sparring, you have wrestling, you have jiu-jitsu, you have all these things that you have to do every single day. This is your job 24/7, and I still have to sell tickets, and I still have to do interviews. And for me, it's like I had never been in front of a camera. So even my very first professional interview, I was just like, I like to kick. So it's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing or saying here, but now they're putting a microphone in my face after I just fought a fight with my very first fight, and you want me to say something
How
smart?
do you feel?
Yeah,
Good?
I'm good. Like
That could be worse.
I like to kick. I like to kick. So that was like an ongoing joke for many, many years. It's just like, you like to kick, huh? I'm like, well, obviously. It was just, yeah. So that has always been a difficult thing to do, was to sell tickets. You have to sell so many tickets.
And it hasn't changed.
Yeah,
it's still that way now.
Yeah, no. Well, especially a lot of the smaller promotions, and I get it. They're trying to sell their tickets. They're trying to, pay the athletes. I mean, well, I don't think that anybody's being paid what they deserve, but to pay them a little more, you got to make a little more. So,
well, I understand that. I guess the argument that I have is I get why it is the way it is, and the pressures. I just don't understand how that pie chart is so heavily on the shoulders of the fighter.
Yeah.
I have to do all this stuff, and I have to make sure, like, it's kind of, that's why I was asking you about, like, did promotions ever kind of, like, not bully you, but pressure you? Because they'll make it be like, well, you want to fight, but I got to fly somebody out, and then I got to pay for their hotel, and then I got to pay for their food and their person, all this other stuff. Am I going to make my money back? It's like, yo, dude, like, I'm the fighter here. Like, isn't that your business model? Like, isn't that your job to figure that one out? Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but...
I mean, and I think that's it too, is a lot of these fighters are just getting bullied because they know, like, hey, these people are giving me an opportunity to fight. It's like, no, they're getting an opportunity to see you fight.
Well, you're also the labor source for their business.
Exactly.
Works both ways.
Exactly, but...
And by the way, for the record, I was also a ticket seller. So, like, I'm not saying, like, oh, I was, but it was even then, like, it was never enough. If you sold 100 tickets, hey, do you want 20 more? Like, no, dude, I just want to sell my tickets and then feel like I'm done and then just concentrate on my fight. That's what I want to do.
Yep. It was just always a difficult thing to do. And to a point where I was just, because my mom had a business in the Central Valley. So I got to a point where I just could not sell tickets anymore. I'd have a few on me in case somebody wanted to get some, but other than that, I would give them all to my mom, and she would just
shout out mom.
Yeah, like
unsung hero.
My mom was amazing when it came to that stuff. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm trying to focus mentally, physically, and emotionally on this camp, and somebody's going to try to kill me at the end of it, and I just cannot focus when I'm trying to sell tickets, and when I'm trying to go to sleep or take a nap to recover, and then I have people blowing my phone up because they want a ticket, and I'm like,
it's a good problem to have, but still annoying.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing with interviews. It's like everybody wants an interview. It's like, I know it's gonna help my brand, but I need to be sleeping. So that was always a difficult thing as well. But
I always never really enjoyed the ones, because maybe I'm wrong with this, but there's like a subsection of like MMA journalism or like YouTube content creation where I know what they're doing. They're kind of setting up with the management. They'll do in like these like 15-minute interviews, and they'll set up like 10 fighters.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of like casting a wide net, and your hope is that one of these fighters, I mean, it's the odds, right? Like, one of you guys are going to make it eventually.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you make it big and someone watches your interviews from back in the day, and it was worth my time. But
Yeah.
I would get on these things and the guy would be like, all right, you want to do an interview for your next fight? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And they'll be like, I'll call you at 5:15. And I'm like, okay. We'll hop on a Zoom call. I'm in the gym. This looks like it's not good quality.
Yep.
How you feeling for your fight? I'm like, good.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in your fight? Win?
That same thing. Everybody says this. How are you feeling? I'm in camp. How do you think I feel? Like,
I want someone to be honest one day. Like, I feel like shit, dude. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm sore. I want this to be over.
Fucking scared, but I'm also not scared because you should know that. But it's just the same questions over and over and over again. And it's just like, did this interviewer even know?
Try.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
So okay, you're just saying the same thing over and over. How did you get started? What are you doing? How do you feel? It's okay.
And that's the problem, right? Because like you're going to be doing like 6 of those.
Yep.
And it felt like for me, okay, I'm just doing the same thing again.
Yep.
I'm answering the same questions. I want to be careful because I don't want to sound like ungrateful. Thank you to all the guys that did those interviews. I appreciate it. However, I felt like livestock. I was like, okay, I'm interview 3 of 9.
Yeah, that's the best way to explain that for sure. That's what it felt like. No doubt.
Your little sister also fights.
Yeah, she did. Mm-hmm.
And fought, forgive me. I wanted to, if you don't mind, briefly touch on that because I have an older brother, so I'm the younger sibling, but he was never in this world whatsoever. So like this was always like isolated to me. I was watching one of your interviews where you were talking about how when you have a fight, you always felt like because you're in control of your destiny, quote unquote, the nerves would be a little bit less. But when your sister was fighting, you would be so nervous for her.
Yep.
What was it like to have a little sister who was also kind of coming into this world that you were also in, and then having to corner her and the nerves and everything?
Man, to this day, it's been that was one of the hardest things I had to do because I could not protect her. I couldn't go in there with her, you know. So it was just one of those things, and I knew she was tough, and I knew she was great. She trained with me, you know. So it was like, and I'm bigger, stronger, faster. Well, not faster. She ended up getting faster after a while because she's smaller, but it was just always one of those things. I mean, I don't have kids myself, but I mean, she was my baby sister. She's 7 years younger, so it was one of those things where I always felt like I had to protect her. And when she went in there to fight, it's like I can't protect her. Like, oh shit! Like I don't like this. So just yelling and screaming and telling her what she should be doing in her corner. Like a lot of the time I could not control myself. It was difficult. It was difficult to watch. And even when she won fights, just anytime she would get hit, I was like, oh, God. Oh,
My soul.
man. Like, I want to hurt that person so bad, but I can't. One of them I got to, which was great. But other than that, it was just, man, it was hard. It was really difficult. So I can only imagine what my mom felt.
Watching
For
both
me,
of her girls.
yeah, for me, and then my sister, it was like, and then when we fought on the same card, oh my goodness, I couldn't.
Two heart attacks.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I grew up in a different time than my sister, so it was just, you know, I was rough growing up. But my little sister, she was, you know, she's a baby of the family, so of course we always treated her like the baby. So it was different, but it was very hard to watch her. But I'm proud of her. I mean, she got a world title in MMA as well. She was WBC Mexican national in Muay Thai. Jiu-jitsu black belt, like she got that way before. I mean, I'm still not a jiu-jitsu black belt. So she's accomplished a lot in a short period of time. It was just, you know, she was my little sister, and she was always a lot smaller than me, even though we fought in the same damn weight class once.
Did she ever have a conversation with you when she wanted to get into mixed martial arts? Like, was that like a conversation you guys had, or do you feel like you inspired her? Like, how did she get into it, and then how did you guys train together? Like, that's kind of the thing
I don't think it was ever really a conversation. She wanted to train. And I was like, you should do this. You should do this. Like, it's, you know, at least to help you feel more confident in who you are and to protect yourself. And then she's like, okay. And then so she started training. And then she, to be a body for me, she started training with me. And then after a while, she was like, if I can take that, I think I could do this. And one of our coaches was like, I'm going to get you a fight. And she was like, I don't know. I don't even think that she was like, even thought about it. It was just like, okay. Cause she was always like, okay. I'm like, do you even really want, I never really asked that question. If you really want to be a fighter. But
Well, boy, did she have an answer.
She did it for as long as I did. So, and she did really well too. She was just always on the smaller end of being a fighter in different weight classes. So other than that, like, she did great. So, but it was always difficult for me.
God bless. I only asked that because I have a brother, but this was never something that him and I shared.
Yeah.
He would support me, like he'd come to fights and stuff like that, but it's difficult because he was never in that world, so
Yeah.
like it was hard to kind of relate, you know what I mean?
I think it strengthened our bond. Like, me and my
I'm
sister are
sure.
tight. Like, we were every single day for well over a decade in and out of the gym, living together, in and out of the gym, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, training all the time, jiu-jitsu. We were wrestling, we were Muay Thai. Like, we were doing everything together to the point where, like, I knew her completely and she knew me. And when I transitioned over, that's why it was, like, super weird, because I wasn't training. She was training. But, I mean, yeah, like, the bond that I have with my sister is
Tight.
pretty tight. Yeah, for sure.
I think to some of the closest friends that I have had or I have in my life, they've all hit me in the face over 1,000 times.
I say it too. Like, and it's all the women that I'm the closest with, we've punched each other in the face. The guys that I consider my brothers, like, I really consider them my brothers because they were there for me. They beat the shit out of me, but, like, they helped me progress in my career. So it was just one of those things. We bled together. We
Cut weight together,
We cut weight
train
Oh,
together.
that's on its own hell too. But
Shout out to anybody willing to step in a sauna with someone cutting
Yeah,
weight,
no.
just so that they're not alone.
No,
You're an
I was-
unsung hero.
I was the worst, man. But yeah, like, to this day, I consider a lot of those guys my brothers because they were there for me, and vice versa. Whenever they needed me, I was there too. So
Here's a couple questions that I hope don't sound bad, but they're genuine in my interest. Is there any part of you that wishes you would have came up in MMA today versus when your time was? And the reason I say
think-
that is because obviously the landscape is vastly
yeah,
different.
I think just even a few years after when I started, if it would have just that timeline, if it would have moved back 3 to 5 years, I feel like things would have been a little
Different
different.
story.
Because within that 3 to 5 years, that's when they added the women to the UFC.
It blew
that's
up.
That's when things just went. But I was already out the door, so it was just one of those things. Like, damn, that sucks.
Do you feel like there was any part of you that like helped build that though? Do you take any consolation in that?
I mean, I do a little. It's hard to, but I'll hear it. I'll hear it a lot from
Yeah.
people that call me a pioneer, or that say I helped. Or I'll hear interviews with other women talking about it, and they'll say my name, and I'm just like, it's just hard. For me, it's just hard to be like, okay, I guess you're welcome. It's just a hard thing to do. I don't know.
Well, it's not something I think you set out to do either. Right?
No, not at all. It was like
byproduct.
I started it. I started doing it selfishly, and then at the end of it, I was like, oh my goodness, like, I've helped a ton of people, but a ton of people helped me too. So I don't know. It's just different. It's weird.
Well, one of the things that you said to me off the record, and I'll kind of bring up now, was that you never really retired. You never really put a cap on your career, and that you're even now flirting with the idea of possibly competing again.
Yeah.
Let me ask it in the most basic way I know. Why do you still want to compete even today?
I don't think it ever leaves you. And I think you can ask any fighter, and it's just, I don't think any fighter, but for myself, it's something that I loved to do. Like, when you're under those lights and you're fighting somebody, you know exactly what that person in front of you wants to do. And it's just the easiest thing in life for me, physically, mentally, emotionally, to be driven and disciplined and get to a certain place and go. And it's just the most alive that I've ever felt was under those lights, fighting somebody else.
God bless.
And it's, people ask, like, will you ever do it again? Do you want to do it again? And do you miss it? And I'm like, can you not tell? When I'm like moving around, like, the biggest smile I have on my face is usually when I'm mixing it up with people that are pros or that have been around for a while, and they're having fun and I'm having fun. I'm like, man, I miss it. Do you miss it? Every day of my life, I miss it. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's something that's ever going to leave me. But every now and then I'll get hit up by promoters. You want to, and for me, it's like I work so much now that if I ever decide to fight, it will be something like Muay Thai because I can wake up and do that. I can do it in my sleep. It's the only issue now is just trying to find a time to get conditioned.
Yeah,
it's just about being conditioned. It's not even about training consistently. Like honestly, if I get into fighter shape, if I'm doing sprints 3 or 4 days out of the week, if I get my weight down, like I can wake up and go fight Muay Thai because it's just something that I love to do. It's something that I want to do. Recovery is a little different now. I'm in. I can. But like. I love it. I love it. I loved the preparation for it. I loved even the hard shit, man. Like I just loved the outcome always. Like whether it was a win or a loss, like I just loved the way I felt because I set out to do something and I went out there and I did it. And regardless of the outcome, it was always like I did it though. I did it.
I will say that I can resonate with what you're saying about those feelings because they are also. I remember when I was fighting. I used to hate those like pre-fight jitters. Like, dude, why am I so fucking scared? Why do I need to go to the bathroom and all these other things?
Yeah.
Now that I'm out of it, I realized how much I crave that because you're right. Mm-hmm. I was never more alive. I was never more present. All the bullshit. I didn't care. For that night, when we got to the casino until we left, that was the only thing I thought about. And in a weird way, to hone just one pursuit, even for a night, is so freeing. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but like, it's so nice to only have one thing to look at.
Yeah, just something to focus.
This is it.
Like
nothing else matters. Mm-hmm. I don't care. For tonight, I don't care.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I feel like as I'm getting older and, I have a family and everything, so like my responsibilities have spread out past just myself. Mm-hmm. It's, there's a lot more noise now. You know what I mean? Which is good. I'm not trying to say ill in any way, but it does make me, I'll catch myself sometimes and be like, Jesus, what I wouldn't give for like one of those nights that I used to hate. Yeah. Like all those emotions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What I wouldn't give for one more crack at it just to kind of get those feelings back.
Every day I'm like, man, or not even really every day. It's like whenever I go into a gym or whenever I see fights, it's always man, I miss it. Yeah. I can do it. I can do it again.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
For me, I'm only 3 years removed from competition. Mm-hmm. It feels like a lifetime ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it was only 3 years. Mm-hmm. But when I look back on it, I'm like, holy shit, like, why does it feel so removed from me now? I don't know if that makes sense. And
it does.
A part of the reason why I do have that itch to maybe come back in or compete or whatever is because I think to myself, like, that wasn't so long ago. I still got it. I can still do it. Like you were saying, give me 6 months to get my conditioning back, get my body back in the right shape. Fuck yeah, I'll slam with anybody.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever go away.
I don't think so. Like,
I think I'll be 50 years old. Like, I still got it.
I don't think it goes away. I mean, especially if I think because I still stay in the gym, even though I'm not there all the time. Wherever I go, if I'm in California, if I'm in Texas, if I'm here, I'll find good gyms. I'll find good people, or the people that I've worked with at the old gyms. And anytime that I'm in there mixing it up, it's just one of those things. Like, damn, I can still do this. It might not be as fast as it used to, but I can still catch kicks. I can still land some pretty good heavy shots. It's just, for me, that's why I always make fun of my gas tank, because I'm like, man, I'm good for about 30 seconds.
So every college boy.
yeah, I bet. I'm sure it's more than just college boys. Let me tell you. But anyway, next.
You were talking about how you'll still find good gyms, you'll still find good rounds. And one of the things we were talking about was that you've kind of perused the St. Louis scene of gyms. You've been to Wolves Den, St. Charles MMA. I just saw you at Chad's at All Saints Muay Thai, right?
And Maryville.
And you went to Maryville? Yep. Okay, you went to Maryville.
Yeah, so yesterday I was in Maryville. When I first moved to Missouri, it was one of those things like, damn, I need to find gyms. I need to find them quick. I'm right by Lake St. Louis, so I found the Wolves Den. They were inviting. I taught a class there as well, so it was great. That's an MMA gym. And then I found St. Charles, so I've been working with Jake Roberts there, here and there. I haven't got to mix it up with any of their guys. I got to mix it up with some of the Wolf Dens guys, and then
When you say mix up, do you mean like sparring?
well, yeah, like
Okay.
it's sparring's different now too, so it's just like light technical.
Yeah. Dutch drills. Things
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And then when I found All Saints, Chad hit me up, and I was like, oh, traditional Muay Thai, hell yeah, like I gotta go. And I've been to his place in St. Peter's, All Saints, and then yesterday was my first day in at Maryville Muay Thai. So it's just like there is so much around here that I'm like, oh man. And then not only that, but I'm looking to get back into jiu-jitsu as well. So I worked with Taylor Made.
Tracy Taylor?
Tracy
Nice.
Taylor. So I've done a little bit with him. I'm just kind of sprinkling all over the place to see
No,
where I
that's
can
very
get some
good.
good work. But I've been so far removed from jiu-jitsu that I'm like, I'm trying to find a safe, good place where I can, get work and, work on this 10-year purple belt that I've had forever. So
God bless.
other than that, but Muay Thai, get up and do that. So it's like, okay, well, that's a little easier for me at the moment, but eventually I'll start diving into the jiu-jitsu as well. But I mean, everybody here has been welcoming. And I'm getting a lot of good work from these guys, and they're happy to have me. I'm happy to work with them, and it's been great for me.
I will say that I've traveled a little bit. I've seen some of the gyms in Kansas City. I've seen some of the gyms in St. Louis, and I will say that Missouri, even though we're just off the beaten path of the Rust Belt, I am proud of the community that we have and like the gyms that we have, and more than anything, I mean, I know like St. Louis is the middle of America basically, but you also get a melting pot of a lot of different types of people, and in martial arts in particular, I think it creates for a more welcoming environment into these gyms because you're already doing something difficult.
Yeah.
And then you're sprinkling in people from all walks of life.
Oh, wow.
You can have men, women, gay, straight, short, tall, fat, skinny, old, young,
Yep.
black, white, whatever. You'll find it all at
Yep.
a gym. And I didn't realize how good that was for my formative years until I'm now removed from it, and I realize like how spotty in what I do now. I feel like I meet a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, for me, it's been great. I was in the Midwest for a while. I was in Cincinnati when I won that world title. So I was out in the Midwest for a little bit, but it was different then. Like there wasn't as many women in the gyms. Now there are so many women in these gyms. And it just seems a little more inviting now. I mean, back then when I was in the Midwest, I had already won that world title. So, they were welcoming. It was just different from because I started in California, and that's kind of where I made my name, and then I moved to Cincinnati. And it was just different. It was just a different scenery as far as MMA goes. And then I moved back to California, and then things started to change because MMA started to blow up, Muay Thai as well, and then the Glory kickboxing. So. People were really getting into the striking art, so that was pretty cool.
I would call you a pioneer, even in a variable that you might not understand, but I think, so I coach high school wrestling. When I was in high school, women's and men's wrestling was co-ed. So like if you wanted to be a wrestler as a woman, I hate to say it this way, it was a tall order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because at those years, like men are hitting puberty, the differences definitely start to develop. You know what I mean? Now, because of the growth of MMA, and I do give mixed martial arts and the growth of the female division in mixed martial arts a lot of the credit for wrestling's expansion into women. So now women have their own league, and now I was just at state for our guys and girls, and I mean, I'm seeing these girls, and I'm like, holy shit, how's the body? Yes. But what it does for the mind, the ego, the self-esteem, it's so much more important. And you're going to get a generation now of women that, I don't want to say never had it like previous generations. I don't want to make hyperbolic statements, but you're going to get a generation of women that are like truly self-confident, self-motivated, disciplined,
exactly,
both mentally and physically. And it's going to cause, I hope it's a direct result of like men kind of stepping up as well and saying like, hey,
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
well, I think it will. I think it will. I think it's reactionary.
Yeah.
So there's always that gap, right? Like you have to, oh shit, like we got to step our game up and then it will.
Yeah.
But the one thing that so I have a daughter and she's 3 years old, but like one of the things I love about that is the world that my daughter will come into is vastly different from the world that I was in when I was her age. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Like I'll have parents ask me like, "Hey, I want to get my kids into," especially if it's a little girl, like right away. Yeah, well, if you don't have money for it, wrestling in school, especially because there's so many programs now. It's like that alone. Like I wish I would have wrestled when I was young. My dad was like, "You're not gonna wear that singlet and and wrestle around with the boys," and I'm just like, I don't want to wrestle around with the boys, Dad. I want to compete. I want to do this. He's like, no, you're just gonna wrestle with the boys, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you can stick with soccer.
But you played. I was gonna say you played soccer. So you liked soccer. You gravitated towards that.
I did. I mean, it was just one of. I mean, I wanted to be a gymnast too, but my dad's like, you're not gonna wear that shit, and I was just like, and it's expensive, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll play soccer and run. So that's what I ended up doing. But man, just.
Even at a college level,
yeah. Just got tired of it. I did it for so long. It was just one of those things. I wanted something other than a team sport. Yeah. I mean, fighting is still a team sport, but you know,
is it though?
You go in there alone. You can't really bring your team with
hey,
you.
Boys, where you at?
Yeah, they're yelling at you from the corner, but other than that, like it's you're in there by yourself. So, but as far as like. Little girls growing, like that's always something that I'll tell every parent, like stick them in something now. Like as far as confidence, like just being an athlete growing up, like I learned so much, like, and then who I am today, I wouldn't change it for the world. The experiences that I have, the confidence that I have, even going through ups and downs and going through dumb stuff I probably shouldn't have gone through. I bounce back so much faster because of what I am, the challenges that I've had as an athlete growing up. I mean, it's taught me so many things in life, and then fighting alone the last, the decade plus that I was a professional athlete, like I grew like more than I probably ever could have doing anything else. Yeah.
That is not to say that there's not a price to be paid, and it's something that I've thought about actively because we were having this discussion with a previous guest, and the only thing I dislike about martial arts is that there's not this relation to education that there is in other sports.
Yeah.
When I stopped fighting, there was like a long, hard look I had within myself of saying like, was this a waste of time? Like, did I spend my time in an endeavor that didn't produce any sort of like lucrative, productive capabilities in terms of earning, like no offense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had to kind of stop myself for a lot of what you said. Like, did I pay a price for these lessons? Absolutely. Was it a higher bill than I would have thought when I first started?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But am I glad that I did it? Yeah.
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 And then before I moved into the security industry, what I'm in now, that was the question at the tail end. I was like, how did I spend 13 years doing this professionally? I didn't have a college degree. I was spent 24/7 every single one of those years trying to build, grow, get to a certain, and even after becoming a world champion, I was just like, what am I going to do after this? Like, I don't really have a college education. I haven't worked in anything else other than, in tax. I've done little jobs here and there. I've been teaching for over a decade. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do after this? Like, I haven't had insurance. I haven't had pay for my, health insurance. So it was one of those things like, what the hell do I have to look forward to? And then at the tail end, it was like in my mid-30s, and that's right before COVID hit. I was like, I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do, and not even just what I'm going to do, but what I'm going to be happy doing. And that's when I started looking into law enforcement and the way the world was going. I was like, they do not get the respect that they deserve. I'm like, man, I don't want to.
If you're talking about during COVID times.
Oh, yeah.
Different
So
administration.
I was like, that point in time, I was like, and then I had a bunch of fights fall through, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
And there's nothing more demoralizing than that as well, because I feel like it's a weight on every fighter's shoulder. Like, people ask me about my daughter. They're like, do you want her to fight? And it's such a loaded question, because here's the thing, right? There are aspects of fighting that I don't know how else she could learn, that I would want her to learn.
Yeah.
overcoming adversity,
Oh,
really
yep.
feeling physical and emotional pain.
Yep.
I hate to say it this way, but like the fighters that I know are some of the best people that I know because they
Yeah.
know what it's like to be at the highest of highs, and they know what it's like to be the lowest of lows.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all my brothers, all the people that, that I've been through it with. I mean, highest of highs, lowest of lows, they were there. I saw them through it. They saw me through it. And it was just one of those things, like anytime that I was asked, like when and if you have kids, are you going to? And my first answer was like, hell no. I mean, I don't want that. At first, it was always a hell no, because I don't want them to go through the hell that I was going through at that time, because I was still in it, and it was just like
It's a selfish sport.
Yeah, I was like, it's a selfish sport. Not only that, but it was just like, I'm not making any money. I'm not getting anywhere. Like, yeah, I have these, these titles to show, but what do I really have to show at the end? I didn't make any money. Like the level I got to, like men that got to that level were making a shit ton more than I was. And then it was just one of those things like, no, I would not want a daughter of mine or a son of mine to suffer the way that I did. Like, I want them to learn. Yeah, it was a great learning experience, and I gained confidence. Discipline. I learned so much from doing it for as long as I did. But for me, I was like, no, especially learning about the brain too. I was like, I don't think I want.
See, this is where I start to get like oxymoronic though, because like on the same breath, I told you that I am personally glad. Like I did an introspection and I said, did I waste my time?
Yeah.
The answer to that question is no.
No. Yeah.
I'm glad I did it.
Yep.
But however, there seems to be this hesitation when the question is asked about my daughter.
Yeah.
Or if I had a son, this doesn't have to do with gender. It's more of like, I feel like this was time well spent for myself, yet when presented the question for my daughter, I don't feel the same way. Now, I want to be careful how I say this. I do stand by my statement that I want her to do something. I think where my hesitation lies is how hard she pursues it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes
If you want to have a
sense.
fight, sure, I'll get you in the right gyms and all these other things, but finish school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Do something, have a plan B, please.
Yeah, no, and I
know that sounds shitty to say.
No, it's not. I mean, it's the honest truth. It's what I, at this point in time, I would have wished I would have, either tried to stay in school.
Did you pursue fighting?
Yeah,
you were like, all right, this is it.
I would have done something else besides just that. But I think I spent a lot of time and energy in that, and it got me to where I was. I got a couple of world titles. I got a WBC national belt. Like I accomplished a lot.
Would I be correct in saying that we're going to talk about your current line of work, but would I be correct in saying that these accomplishments work as a sort of pseudo resume for you?
Yeah, that's exactly how I found myself to where I am today. It's like, yeah, I didn't have a college degree, but as soon as I
got a master's and punching your face.
As soon as I put that on a resume, and as soon as I started to apply myself and started going to schools for the line of work that I'm in now, and then working on an EMT and just kind of like padding all of that, it was just one of those things like, oh damn, it's a female and she has the hard skills. We don't really come by any of those. On top of that, like, she's building all these other skills that we need. So I mean, as soon as I jumped in the industry, it was like I was able to get a job wherever I wanted.
So isn't that crazy though? Because like, even then, you were better off for doing what you had done, for pursuing the path that you have taken.
Yeah.
And that's where I start to feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, I would not be able to live the life I have now if I didn't learn some of the discipline, some of the mental fortitude that I got from martial arts and wrestling before that and whatever. So I want to be careful how I say this, because I don't want to shit on fighting.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100% same. Like I am, what I did that entire time in fighting, it landed me directly where I am today. What I make today, the life that I live today, and the places that I'm able to see and go, and the things I'm able to do, the people that I meet, 100%, I contributed all to struggling as a fighter for a decade plus. So I wouldn't change any of it for the world. So I mean, but what I want, if I had kids, would I want them to do it? Would I want my nieces, because I have nieces and nephews that I train now too. And if they want to, I'll show them the way. But it's like, just stay in school. Like, stay in school.
That was the topic, is we were like, you know, if you do basketball, let's say,
Yeah.
and like you're good enough to go to college, then you can get a college degree,
Yeah.
right? And then if you're not good enough to go to the NBA, like how many fighters are going to make it to the UFC? Not all of them is the
No.
answer, right?
No, yeah.
So it's like, it's not as if I'm saying that like everyone deserves to get paid $1 million for fighting. That's just not the case. But what I would wish is that there was some sort of curriculum. Like I wish jiu-jitsu or some sort of combat sport. I wish boxing, or one of them, was like also a high school and a college sport, so that at the very least you could pursue MMA if you wanted to and do it in college to possibly get an education, so that if you're not able to achieve the heights that you think you are, you still have something that you can kind of rely on. There's something else that you're getting as a byproduct of this effort in a way that there is for other sports, but not in fighting.
Yeah, there's not, and it sucks. You know, I had to pursue the schooling for what I do now after the fact, which was hard on its own, especially not going to school for like 15 years, and then I'm just like
Having to go back,
drowning. I'm like, do I even know how to read anymore? I got punched in the face how many times?
All the kids are trying to whiz you up. I know what that means.
Like, I'm like, what? What are these words? I have to actually look into a dictionary for these words. Like, oh, it's so much easier getting punched in the face, but I didn't get paid shit for that. So, okay, I'll apply myself.
Let's, if you don't mind, let's talk about your line of work now. But before we talk about, because I know it's also, let's talk high level, but this is where I want to go with this conversation. Forgive me, because I'm trying to navigate it properly.
Oh, you're good.
There was a time where you decided that you were going to take a step away from fighting, okay? Was it during the early years of COVID? You were saying like 2019, 2020?
It was right as COVID was hitting. And not only that, but they were finally adding my division to the UFC. They actually did. That's when I went to the tough tryouts. Made it through the tough tryouts. That was great. I was supposed to be on the show, and they were finally putting a belt for 125 pounds. I'm like, they finally added my weight class. And a week before filming, I completely tore my ACL. So that wasn't fun. Yeah, and then shortly after that, I think is when the COVID started to happen.
How did that happen? Training?
Yeah, I was in Thailand the second time that happened. Sorry, I tore my ACL twice. ACL? Yep, same ACL. I was in Thailand getting ready for a fight. Prior to that, I was in Thailand getting ready for a fight, and that's when I tore it. And then I just tried to like recover because I knew that something was coming down the line. I ended up going back home, and then that's when I heard that Tough was coming around. And I was like, oh shit, I have a partial tear in my ACL. I was like, how are we gonna get around this? And we just trained through it, tried out, everything went well, and then a week before filming, I was in the jiu-jitsu room, and I just heard it completely pop, and I'm like, okay, Jesus. There's something wrong here. And found out that I was completely torn, so I was just like, shit.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. It's like, I guess it wasn't supposed to happen. And then shortly after that, after coming back and recovering after that, it was just one of those things. It was, I really wanted to start on my run back, but I had to get fights to win, to get into the UFC, you know? And it's like, I couldn't get a fight to save my life. I had like 12 fights fall through, and I was like... Implying
that you had something on the date, and then someone gets hurt.
Either someone gets hurt, or somebody changes their mind, or it like something was always happening when it came to fights. And just trying at that point in time, they were signing people right away, especially when around COVID, because it's like I don't know what was going on, but
I can tell you what was going on. The ESPN Plus deal was there with ESPN's parent company, Disney. Mm-hmm. And what happened with COVID? I hate to say this out loud, but this is the absolute truth. They had contractual obligations with ESPN Plus. If they didn't do a certain number of shows in a year, they wouldn't get their annual nut. So what the UFC did was they signed a bunch of people, and if someone got COVID or whatever, it didn't matter because you could replace someone in 2 days. Like that's how Iridium blew up overnight. I'm sorry to say the quiet part out loud.
That was the thing, was like
they didn't care.
They
just needed to get the fights out.
Get a fight, get a win,
Apex,
we'll sign you on the spot.
Doesn't matter.
And I'm like, I can't get a fight to save my life because all these girls are taking easy fights. I'm not a fucking easy fight.
By the way,
so it was like
not just girls.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where like I can't get a fight, and just going down that road was just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, how long is this going to go on? Like, I can't get a fight to save my life. Everybody's getting signed to the UFC. I can't, like...
Was it demoralizing?
It was one of those things where I'm just like, I've trained with these girls. They come to train with me. They're all in the UFC. It's just... It was, for me, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I need to make money. Like, I'm tired of this bullshit. Like, I'm who I am as a fighter. I'm circling around, like, not going to the UFC and this and that. And I always had people telling me, like, you shouldn't put it all on that. Like, you've done a lot. And I'm just like, I don't want to continue to go down this road. It just didn't make any sense to me anymore. Like, I need to make money. I was already, like, in my mid-30s, and I'm like, I don't have anything to my name. I don't have a house. I don't have an education. I don't know where the hell I'm going or what I'm doing. I had just moved back from the Midwest. I was in and out of this shitty relationship. I was just like, I need to build a life. And at that point in time, I'm like mid-35. Like, I need to find somebody. I need to do something else. I need a career. I need something. I still wanted to have a family at that point in time. And I'm like, I wasted all this time and all this money on this, this fight career, and I'm not really getting anything out of it anymore. So that's when I had a couple of people tell me about executive protection, and I was like, that actually sounds like something I'd rather do
up your alley
than law enforcement. So
before we get to law enforcement, though, was there any part of you that was afraid because of all these circumstances? Like, all these things were kind of culminating at once. Mm-hmm. You're not getting the fights that you wanted. There's a pandemic going on, and everyone's like shutting everything down.
Yeah.
You're worried about, making ends meet and all these other things. Like, I don't want to skip over this because it sounds like a very, like, tumultuous moment in your life.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
No, it is. Because I mean, even at that point in time, I was living in the Bay Area, which is like 2 hours from where my parents lived. And I was like, I don't know the way the world is going either. So I need to figure out how they're going to be safe, what we're going to do. If something, because nobody knew what the hell was going to happen,
At the start,
but we all kind of knew people were still fighting. So I was like, oh, it's one thing or another. And then when I heard about the whole like security thing, I was like, okay, well that just seems like something that I can do to make not just ends meet, but something that I can keep myself on my toes
like an
for.
actual career.
Yeah. I was like, that sounds like something I would like to do. So right away.
So then let's talk about that. You said like there were some people that approached you about executive protection. Mm-hmm. Was that the first time you've ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So you didn't even know it was a job?
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I knew about security. You have security guards doing this and that, but I had a coach that actually did executive protection, Kieran Fitzgibbons with CSA, and I was like, what is it? What is that? And he would explain it, and I was just like, okay, you're pretty much a close protection. You're like a glorified bodyguard. You do advances. You're pretty much keeping people alive. So I'm like, oh, that actually sounds like something I would like to do. And then I started shooting with one of my other coaches, Darren Winoyama. Like I had never touched a gun before. I think I might have touched like a rifle when I was young. Yeah. So she's like, well, you kind of want to get used to doing this. So he taught me how to shoot, and then I just kind of hit the ground running with everything else. It was, I didn't have any money, obviously, so I took a bunch of credit out and started putting it into licensing that I needed, security licensing, firearms license, concealed weapons permits, and then schools, like the EP schools, executive protection schools. Now, those were expensive. The first one I went to was in Miami, and it probably cost me like close to $15,000 that I put into credit, and I was like, hope something lands from this because that's a pretty big bill.
Talk about like putting your money where your mouth is, because like I see a lot of people always talk to me about like all these things that they want to do, and I say this to anybody. It's not just about entrepreneurship, but it's like even something like this. Mm-hmm. If the hurdle to a dream or to a product or to a service that you're thinking about doing is money, that's actually the easiest hurdle. You can get a loan out for that.
Yeah.
You can get credit if you need to, right? The problem is if you don't feel like you want to take that risk, there's something internal that's like that doubt that's like the reason I don't want to take out a loan or the reason I don't want to borrow money is because I don't know if this is going to pan out, and then I'm left with the bill. So it's difficult to sit there and double down and say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a hard pivot. I'm going to start learning a bunch of shit that I've never even thought about. And I'm also going to put myself, 15,000-20,000 in the hole and just fucking run it.
Yeah, I mean,
God bless.
But that's what I did. And before I even left that school, I already had a job lined up. And I was like,
Yeah.
it was odd because I did the interview. I did the interview while I was still out there, and it was for like a residential security job, but for 6 figures in the Bay Area, it was like 6 figures. What the hell is that? And they're like, you know what 6 figures is? And I'm like, no, I don't. So, and they were like, it's over $100,000. It's 140 to start. And I'm like, what?
Sign me up.
I'm like, I my entire fight career, I've never seen that amount of money. You're telling me I'm gonna make this in a year? Doing what? Residential? So you're just sitting outside of somebody's house with a weapon, doing security.
I saw this meme that was about the Olympics, and it's kind of sad, but it's the reality of the situation. It's like you could be number 100 at like the javelin, and you don't make any money. But if you're the number 100 plumber in the world, you're crushing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just says choose your hustle. And that's the thing that's tough about sports or martial arts or all these things. It goes back to that conversation we were having.
Yeah.
Once again, it's not as if your time was wasted, right? Because
No,
this
not at all.
led to where you're at with law
Exactly.
enforcement.
Yep.
But man, does that seem like a tough pill to swallow during.
It really was. But like,
Was there any part of you that was, I want to be careful how I say this, not angry or upset, but you put in a lot of this effort into fighting and got a certain outcome. And then as soon as you decided to make that hard pivot, and as soon as you doubled down and committed to it, you're afforded this new lifestyle almost overnight. I'm sure $100 and whatever $1,000 was life-changing for you.
it was 100%. It was life changing. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. Like, I'm like, I've never come across this type of money ever in my life. It was definitely life changing for sure. But I still miss fighting. But it was just one of those things. Like, sucks that I started doing it, mid 30 because, if I would have done it 10 years ago, this would have been great, or even 5 years ago.
Or maybe everything had to happen the way it happened for us to be here today.
And
That's what helps me sleep at night.
Yeah, and it did, but man, it was eye opening for sure.
Do you mind if I talk about, you kind of glossed over it, but there was a lot of things that you had to learn, or you kind of had to go from a world where you were an experienced individual in that craft fighting to once again going back to being like a white belt, right? You were talking about how you hadn't even held a firearm more than once or twice in your life until you started doing firearm training. And then there's all these certificates and all these like additional higher education that you had to pursue. What was that like?
I was like a fish out of water. It was just a battle every day to just, am I smart enough to be here? Is this something I should be doing? I feel like I'm in the wrong place. I never felt as smart as I, like, even going through all these classes and learning everything I learned, it just seemed like I got here a lot quicker than I probably should have. Do I belong? Do I belong? It was just a constant, it's just a constant battle, especially because like everybody else that was in the industry in the position that I was in, it took them 5-10 years to get there, actually doing like small security jobs. So you start in security and then you move up to another higher level of security. It's like some people don't even end up getting into actual executive protection. It's they'll do little security jobs here and there, work at a mall or work at a dispensary with a firearm on the outside of their waist, but never actually get into close protection. I really wanted to get into close protection, and it was just it was weird because just learning a lot about it. And when I dove in, I just kind of went with the same type of mentality that I had when I jumped into fighting. It's like I didn't know anything, like shit, but I love it. So let me just apply as much as I possibly could. This was a completely different animal because I was already an adult. I had already did something completely different prior to this, and I'm just like trying to learn all of this stuff on top of, and I'm just like going back to school into books when I'm used to getting punched in the face every day to opening a book and just trying to study and retain all of this stuff so I can learn and be an asset.
A different kind of battle.
It was just eye-opening to like, I jumped into something completely uncomfortable, and I mean, I'm glad I continue to stick with it, but man, it was very uncomfortable when I first started.
What would you say to people that feel in their lives trapped in whatever it is that they decided to do? So maybe it's not fighting. Maybe they did decide to be like a blue collar worker and now they're a plumber and they hate their life. And they feel like, or maybe let's give more examples just to kind of dilute it. They go into finance and now they're working in some, desk somewhere in some cube and they're just like counting the minutes until 5 o'clock to get out. I hear a lot from people who are unhappy in the career paths that they've chosen, that it's almost as if like, well, this is it. This is what this is what I put all my time and effort into. This is what I have to show for it. Yet I'm talking to you and then, in your mid 30s, you decide, okay, no, like let's reinvent ourselves. And you pursued that. Do you think that that is something that anybody can do? Would you recommend that if they feel the way you felt to pursue that?
I think with the right mindset. It's not easy. It wasn't. It's still to this day is not easy, and I've found a lot of success in it. But I think it has to be something that you are able to not just pursue, but just put your head down and work. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Like, changing anything is uncomfortable. I would say to start making small changes in your life here and there and see how you do with those small changes. And if you can make those small changes, a lot of people, I would tell them to start with, especially if they're overweight, like if you can change that, then you can change a lot of other things in your life. But you have to start somewhere, and that's a good place to start. But I think a lot of people just get comfortable in their lives, and it's just like, are you comfortable being miserable? Like, you're complaining about it, but you're obviously comfortable with it. So I think for me, I've just got so used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable because I wanted to be in a different place.
I want to ask you a couple questions, but I'm going to do a precursor because a couple times you've brought up in this conversation that you don't have children, and that earlier in the conversation you were even talking about how you were investing time into a quote unquote shitty relationship. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do it, and if you don't want to answer,
no, you're
feel
good.
free. Yeah. Is there any part of you that thinks it's difficult to be in a relationship if you were pursuing fighting?
Yes. It is. I think as a woman, and that was one of the reasons why I found myself single for a very long time, because I don't know if it's just being a woman or being in a relationship. It takes work. Every relationship takes work. And then if you're fighting, you're not worried about anybody but yourself.
It's a selfish sport. It's
a selfish sport, and you can't because there's somebody that's going to try to take my head off in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And if you're having to go home and deal with that on top of it, like it is incredibly difficult. Like any downfall that I've ever had in my career, guess what's on the other side of that? A relationship, a terrible relationship. So,
would you try to? I never thought about this paradigm because you're a woman. So like I know what dating was like as a fighter. Mm-hmm. As a man, I'll be completely honest with you. It was like a net positive.
Oh yeah, like
I was in shape. Easy. Yeah, I was confident. All these other things. But I never thought about it from the perspective of a woman. Yeah. Now I want to be careful because I know a lot of fighters, and I'm just gonna say it. There seems to be a tendency towards like lesbian women and fighting. But you're a straight woman.
Yeah.
So you're having to date men, and then obviously that paradigm of like the genders approaches itself. So did you find that you like were forced to date like other fighters because they understood the world? Did you find it difficult to date quote unquote normal men who aren't necessarily training? Or did you even try to date men that wouldn't train?
I've dated a few other athletes, and then in the very beginning, I dated people that were in fighting. That was all; those were all disasters.
Athletes and fighters.
Yeah, I think anybody that has. Well, when it came to me, in my experience, I'm not talking about anybody else, but
yeah, anecdotal.
Anybody in the light. Any man I came across that either had high status, made a lot of money. If they had both of those, shit.
Meaning what? They were just difficult to deal with?
Just a high status and a lot of money. They walk on water. Oh. So they can get whatever they want, and they think that, it's sad to say, but a lot of the time, I think a lot of those guys see you as like a notch. It's just like, oh, well, you've done this, this, and that. Oh, well, you're hard to get. Well, then let's see how we can do this.
Oh.
But I think as a female too in the sport and accomplishing what I did, I think that was attractive to a lot of the types of men that I didn't want to have anything to do with. Big ego, very insecure. A lot of the time they had status or they made money, but screws are loose, obviously. They're cheaters, manipulators. This word that gets thrown around a lot now too, narcissist. People trying to ride your coattail. Just got out of something like that as well. So it's hard for, I think, as a female to try to find like a genuine human being. And then you have girls in the sport that are kind of like guys in the sport, and they don't have to pick and choose. They just, take them as they come, and it just gives us all a bad name too. So it's like, it has been, I think, being in the sport and going from one male dominant sport right into a male dominant industry, it's been a headache, and it's been very difficult to find anything that is genuine and good. And yeah.
I have a female friend who's like a hyper successful woman. Mm-hmm. I mean, she is crushing it in corporate America. Yep. And I'm talking about we're talking about 6-figure earnings, like multiple 6-figure earnings.
Oh shit, yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the most intelligent women that I know, super down to earth, super nerdy, right?
Yep.
When she had her second marriage fall through, I was the one who gave her the advice. I was like, hey, listen, like, I've been around you now for a long time, and I knew her ex-husband. And I was like, I think you would benefit a lot from someone completely out of your world. Like, date a teacher. Date. I was like, you don't need the money. You don't need any of these things. What you're looking for is like a partner.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, that's kind of freeing for a woman, right? So it's like, okay, I'm here. I don't care about your earnings. I don't care about this hypergamy nature or whatever. I'm at the tippity top, boys. You know what I mean? She started dating a teacher, and they're about to get on to the next stage of their life together. But what's funny too is she met this guy, average guy.
Yep.
I want to be careful how I say, because I'm sure that they listen to this. They'll know. When I say average, I mean average height, average, good-looking guy, middle class, teacher, slightly conservative. You know what I mean? These factors. She's lost 40 pounds. She's never looked better. She's never been happier. They're, like I said, on the precipice of the next stage of their relationship. And I was like, dude, sometimes, like, if your proximity, if the ones around you aren't working, what do you have to lose by trying something new?
And
date a teacher.
and that's no, honestly, that's kind of where I am. Like the last one, like that one broke me, mainly because like I thought it was one of those things like, okay, well, he didn't make any money. I saw what he did in the military, so I figured, he has some drive and some discipline. But man, all the stuff that came with it was just difficult. Like it put me back financially, mentally, physically, emotionally. I gained like 50 pounds. No shit. Like within the entire time we were together, I gained 50 pounds. As soon as it dissolved, 40 pounds off my back. And I'm like, wow. Started making my money again because I was providing financially, whether he wants to say it or not. Like I have all the receipts for everything and where he is today. So it was just something that was very difficult for me because I thought like, okay, well, yeah, I was making the money. I was in the career that I was in. I was able to provide what I could and help him move him along. And that was the problem that I had was like, why am I trying to fix somebody? I shouldn't be trying to do that.
No, especially not like, I want to be careful how I say this. If you're like 20 years old and someone has like some like relative small issues, you can help them kind of grow their way out of it because they're still developing as people as well. But I hate to say this, at 35 to
35,
40,
they should.
You need to be coming into that with the expectations of working on yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, I want you to know I'm single because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
They are cognizant. They are on my radar. They are actively being worked on. But you shouldn't be looking to someone to save you from yourself.
Yeah, not at all. And that
works both ways.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Was I was pretty much single 10 years before meeting this person. And I was, I was doing the things I wanted to do. I was making my own money. I had saved up a shit ton of money to buy property, poured it all into the wrong place, obviously. But it was just one of those things, like, I knew who I was and what I wanted, and he painted that picture for me. So I was, and unfortunately, I'm my mother's daughter. I care too much. I do too much. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I give too many chances, and I got fucking taken for a ride. And now I'm like 42. I don't feel like I'm 42, but I'm at a point where I was like, okay, I was able to rebuild. I was able to lose a bunch of weight. I'm in a healthier place than I've ever been, especially in that relationship. And I'm just like looking at life like, man, I wasted so much time on trying to help people and be there for people that I shouldn't have. It's weird.
Are you, and this is the last question I'll ask on this,
Yeah.
forgive me, but I did want to kind of pursue this part of the conversation. Do you actively pursue, like, where are you at mentally now with this? Have you been, I want to be careful of the words I use. Do you think you've become jaded towards relationships? Do you think because of how it's gone prior that it is warping your perception of what could possibly be?
And that was the thing, like, coming out of that, though it broke me, it was one of those things like, I'm not going to put how I am and how I love and who I am, I'm not going to put that on how I allowed this to happen, because I am at fault. I have to hold myself accountable for the way that this all turned out. I did, where was my discernment? Where I saw the red flags. Like, kind of have to blame myself too. So, no, like, I still love the way that I love, and I still do the things that I want to do. Now I'm a little more cautious. Yeah. The only thing is difficult now because of my schedule to try to even meet people. And that was the problem then too, was I was meeting people doing what I was doing when I was fighting. I was meeting those types of people, whether they were professional athletes or in or around the industry. And then now in the security industry, I'm meeting the same types of people. And it's just like at another level because of what they do and how much money they make. And it's difficult. It's difficult to do. So I don't know.
Well, we'll bounce off of that
Yeah.
one. Forgive me. The reason I wanted to bring it up was just because they were kind of like little notes popping throughout the conversation that I thought I might want to pursue a little bit, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to talk about is where you're at today with your career. I mean, we were kind of alluding to it. Obviously, you're in town predominantly for what you do for a living now, not necessarily for training. So the training that we were talking about earlier was actually a byproduct. It's nice to have considering that we're in the area for work.
Yep.
We were glossing over the training portion of law enforcement, and then subsequently that you got a job even before you were like completely done, right? What have the last couple of years been like in this line of work?
Oh man, I've learned a lot because I've jumped around from place to place, but the place that I landed, I'm pretty happy where I am, because not only do I get to do that, but I also get to dive into defensive tactics, which is right around what I was doing prior to that, which was combatives, like I'm fighting people. So you throw defensive tactics into that, and I'm like, oh, now I can actually teach, learn, grow, and actually be an asset on any of these teams that I'm on. Well, the team that I'm on now. To teach, to do what I like to do when it comes to combatives. So
what is the responsibility like of your job? Because I think about like what it is that you do, and you're essentially protecting high VIP assets from the world, right?
Yeah.
Which comes with it a responsibility. It's different from like when I go to work. I don't have to worry about anybody.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you have to be on 24/7. It's just it's essentially you're protecting life, So you have to do advances, pre-advance work. You have to I don't know how much I could say. And
high level it. Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So when you see somebody that does the line of work that I do, a lot of the time people will see them like, oh, you're like a bodyguard. It's like we do a lot more than that, but that's essentially it's kind of what it is. It's just at another level. I'm before I even touch ground anywhere, before I'm working with somebody, I'm doing a ton of work, and those are long days. I'm trying to think of what I can get away with saying and whatnot. But,
I'm not trying to probe too much. I guess my thought process is you went from a line of work that was incredibly stressful and you had to perform or else there were dire physical consequences to another line of work that's incredibly stressful, high responsibility with incredible dire physical consequences.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too. I think I wanted something that would keep me on my toes, and of course, like now it's life and death. I have to be on my toes, I can't be complacent, even though people do get complacent in this industry. It's one of those things that I enjoy doing. I enjoyed learning, and I continue to enjoy learning. It's a difficult job, but I love to do it. So
God bless.
Yeah.
And now it's been how many years? I want to say 2 years. How long have you been in this line of work?
I've been doing it for about 5 years now.
Oh, so from 2026.
So as soon as I applied myself into those schools, before I was done with that school, boom, right away. So I was in security, and then I bumped up from residential to like a hybrid position where I was doing residential and close protection, and then from there the jobs just started coming. So it's just like executive protection jobs. I was all over the place, and it was international. So I'm hopping all over the world, protecting people, essentially.
And getting paid to do it.
And that's the thing too, was just like, I'm getting paid to do this. This is insane to me, and you're staying at the same places they're staying. You're traveling to these amazing places that I wanted to travel to when I was fighting. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to fight too. I was like, I get to travel and fight, and no, you're gonna stay in California because that's where you can sell a lot of tickets. So even though I was fighting at a high level, when it came to fighting, I stayed in California a lot of the time. Fought in California because I could make I could make a lot of those promotions money there. So, but yeah, I love what I do. So,
do you mind if I do a hard pivot? I want to ask a couple of questions so because of your line of work, I'm sure it's kind of like with my line of work. I work in financial information systems, and there are things that'll kind of happen throughout the world that'll make me kind of like turn my head like, that's a little suspect.
Yeah.
But in your line of work, I have a couple questions, and if you don't want to touch these, that's fine.
Okay.
But they are things that I think about still to this day. I have no idea, even to this day, how the original assassination attempt on Trump happened. I do not understand, because when I think of like personal bodyguards, right, I think of the Secret Service as like the creme de la creme. This is like the top notch. And I've had other people that do as well, as like, so Todd Fox has a touring security company where he does what you do, but for specific bands, right?
Yeah.
And I when he comes back, I'm going to ask him these questions as well. He was on the podcast, but obviously that was years ago. So like a year ago, but that was before the stuff with Trump happened. Can you help me wrap my head around how that could have gone so badly to the point where the only reason he's still alive today is because he turned his head, and that there were multiple failures? Like, I'm not trying to get into the conspiracy side of it. Yeah. That's not what I want to do. What I'm trying to say is, can you help me pinpoint how many things have to go wrong for that to happen? Like, is that a monumental failure?
I mean, I would like to say yes, it was. I don't want to dig too much into it because I would hate to be in that position and be critiqued like that because I don't know. I don't know all the I don't know all the details. I don't know exactly what happened up until that point, but there had to be a lot of things that did not go right, or a lot of, how do I say this without
Forgive me. I hope I don't put you in a bad position.
No, you're not putting me in a bad position. I just want to be able to.
Because I see that and I think to myself, how is it that you have, these Secret Service members cost us how much of thousands of dollars, if millions of dollars a year, and then for this to happen in the way it does, it's just so crazy to me.
It shouldn't have. That's the thing. Like I don't have any other way to explain it, but it's something that should not have happened. Like, those T's, crossing those T's and dotting those I's, like, how did that get passed? How did?
And that's when the conspiracies start, right? Yeah. Because then you're like, I'm willing to believe in negligence. I am. Sometimes it's Occam's razor. Sometimes like the simplest answer is the answer, and there's
Yeah.
nothing left in that, right? And then sometimes I think to myself, man, if so many things had to go wrong and so much negligence had to be introduced, then you start to disbelieve that.
Yeah.
And that's where I get to it. And there are a couple of other scenarios that also make me think of the same thing, but I mean, I could talk about the Charlie Kirk one. I could talk about a lot of these things.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand how, if this is what people do for a living, I understand that you can have a bad day at work. That's not what I'm saying.
yeah. But at that level, though,
This seems
it's
monumental.
Yeah, at that level of the Secret Service, where they have unlimited funds to cross all those T's and dot all those I's.
And you were talking about all the prep work that you do beforehand. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that they are doing something similar.
That is something that should have been caught then. Not even just caught then, but that should have been that it just shouldn't have ever happened. The whole like you were talking about Charlie Kirk thing, like that was something that a lot of the time when I was working when I was doing independent contracting, there was only like one or two of us. And you can't cover everything if there's only just one or two. You got advanced guys. Depending on.
But see, that's not the case here, right? Because like it's not a question of funds. They have the money.
That's where it was. That's where everybody had a lot of those questions, like how did that happen? It shouldn't have.
Do you see these things and do you start to ask questions yourself? Meaning, like, the reason I'm asking you is you're a little bit more learned than I am in this world. Mm-hmm. So for me, I see this through the prism of ignorance. I don't know a whole lot about this. All I know is like, man, I feel like a lot of people had to fuck up for this to happen.
Yeah.
You might look at it with a little bit more intelligent eyes because you've gone through the trainings. You understand these parameters a little bit better than I.
It's something that we have to look into and study and see how we would have done it better. And that's pretty much where how that goes. It's what could we have done to prevent something like that to happen? And that's the only way that we can look at it.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
When the assassination on the United Healthcare CEO happened, I feel like, is it safe to say that these people, when I say these people, let me be a little bit more specific. The type of people that you will protect are high net worth individuals, or like it's in the name, right? Executive protection. So like you're protecting executives, CEOs, C-suite, what have you. Do you feel like it's coming to a point where protection is needed at all times?
Yeah, it's when it comes to protecting those types of individuals, it's something that it should be all time. Even early on, like with just doing residential, like those types of people get protection 24/7 when they're at home, as soon as they leave. That's the way I feel like it should be for these people that need that type of protection. It should be transitioning from a vehicle to wherever they're going, to dinners, to meetings, to events, everything but, going to the restroom.
It just seems, yeah.
And even if they are going to the restroom,
they're hiding in the toilet now.
No, but that's it. Like even if they are going to the restroom, like I've had jobs where it's like I have to
walk you
and,
in.
and if it's just a man, I have to check the restroom. Hey, anybody in here? Like making sure that it's okay for him to go in there, and then I can let him go in there, make sure nobody else goes in. That's a difficult thing to do as a female too. It's just, but that's the way that the job. That's what you're supposed to do.
What is your primary concern when you're doing, obviously it's like the life of the individual. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, are you more concerned about like someone kidnapping the individual for ransom? Are you more concerned about physical harm to the individual? Are you more concerned about, does this extend to like family members?
You have to be concerned about all of it.
All of it.
That's the thing, is like, because I've worked for families too, and obviously that's what they're concerned about. Their children getting kidnapped. Just anything, even as far as like just doing something that they're going to embarrass themselves in front of a camera, or do something, or say something, or act a certain way, or get in a fight with somebody. There are so many things that you're protecting them from. It's not just to keep them alive. It's kind of protecting them from themselves too. So, it's everything.
Has the job ever kind of turned into, you went from a bodyguard or a close asset protection to you're now like the adult in the room. Maybe they've been drinking and they got too sloshed, and now you're like, hey,
man.
we got to get you out of here.
That's a thin line.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things that and when it comes to those types of people, we have to have those conversations beforehand.
Hey, you like to party.
This is what, like, am I okay to do this? Are you fine with, like, and you tell them the reason, like, I don't want you to embarrass yourself. There are cameras here. A lot of time you have to, like, sidebar and tell them this is how this goes. This is what I do in this situation. Has that ever gone
bad? Meaning, like, have they ever felt disrespected if you're trying to, like, protect them from themselves?
Not for me.
Okay.
Like not for me, but I've heard of instances where that has happened, and a lot of the time you see these guys walk away from something like that, because a lot of the time they're either doing something that's bad, or they're getting into drugs, they're doing this and that, and a lot of these EP, well, they call them EP agents, will just be like, I'm not gonna, this isn't my job, like, I'm not gonna get popped for being in and around all these drugs.
I didn't think about that, because you're technically illegal activity.
Exactly, and you're drinking in vehicles, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's like, I'm with them, I'm supposed to be protecting them, and I'm not going to lose my job, my license, if you have a CCW, or, like, I can lose a lot because I'm here trying to protect you.
Have you ever had an instance where you were on the job and you had to, like, recuse yourself because the people weren't listening to your instructions?
I haven't, thank God.
Thank God.
No. I have not.
But is that like a thing that can happen?
Yeah,
you're like,
it
hey,
is.
man, I've told you like 16 times, don't do that. I got to bounce.
Like, you'll be surprised. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to work with rappers. A lot of the time, actors, they're just very difficult people to work for and with, because they want to do what they want to do, and they're going to do it, whether you like it or not. And a lot of the time, it's their team, or it's somebody else's. I mean, they're paying the bill, but
that's the problem, right? Is because technically, like, it's that age-old adage of, like, the police officers too, like, my tax dollars goes to your salary, like, you work for me type of mentality. You have to tell someone who is paying you what to do.
Yep.
And they will definitely lord that over you if they can.
Oh yeah, and that's where it's a little tricky, because I mean, at the end of the day, you're still help. but I don't want to be the help in prison, or I don't want to, lose
your
my
livelihood.
entire career, because I allowed you to do something. Like, that's where it becomes tricky. So you kind of have to pick and choose who you want to work for, where you want to work. It took a while for me to figure all that out, and who, what, and when, how. I mean, I had a lot of good mentors that were just like, don't work for these people. Don't go there. Don't do that. Don't do that. You should be getting paid this. You should stop going to so many schools and start working more. And I'm just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? But, I mean, it's been great. I'm excited. And to jump into, like, the defensive tactics portion, like, that's right where I want to be. Like, I love the job, but now that I'm in defensive tactics and working around that a lot more, like, fighting with guns and blades and finding ways around vehicles, and I love that stuff. That gets my heart going.
Christ.
So, yeah.
God bless.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
It's fun, man. It's fun. I love it. Like, I'll go. I went to this combative summit, and same thing. We put, like, these huge headgear on, and then I'll have a weapon, or the my counterpart will have a weapon, and then they'll put our heads together and. One gun, somebody needs to get it and go. Or we'll fight in vehicles. Same thing. We both have. They're like.
Let me ask you this then: how I've heard a lot that, like, fighters. I've heard the criticism of martial arts is that it's not a real fight, right? Like, not a real fight.
Oh my God.
Like life and death, right? But you now have experience in both, like, a fixed environment, such as a cage, and then an unfixed environment or a variable environment.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how much of the trainings that you have had, how much of your life's work has assisted you in this new line of work? Do you feel like the skill set has transcended?
Yeah. I mean, there are some things that we can't use, but I think just having that as a background helps a hell of a whole lot. You got body mechanics. I can see what you're going to do before you're going to do it, because I've had somebody standing in front of me with what they're going to throw and how they're going to try to attack me. So I feel like it's helped.
Does it shock you? I don't know if this is true, so it's like a question in two parts. Like, number one, does everyone in this line of work have, like, combative experience like you? Did that shock you when you figured that out? Like, that, oh my gosh, like, you guys don't know how to, like, do hand-to-hand combat the way I do?
Yeah.
You don't know how to throw a punch?
Yeah, not everybody.
That's wild.
You'll be surprised. I mean,
Are they good with
everybody's probably
firearms trained?
dumped. Yeah, a little. Like and that's
What about close quarter?
that's the same thing. Like it's
Shoulder to shoulder. I mean, I feel like
I think a lot of guys, especially if they come from like the military or law enforcement, they've done a lot of not a lot, but military more so. A lot of firearms training, a lot of certain combatives that they have to do, and then depending on what branch they went to or where they served, and it really depends. You know, I think a lot of those guys have a lot of good experience. But you'll be surprised, you know, like even if they come out of the military and they don't want to train it anymore or do anything, they just, you know, they stick to their firearms, and then they just everything else just kind of goes out the window.
That seems incredibly escalatory. One of the things when I had Todd on, we were talking about law enforcement. He's like, you don't understand like how good it is to have police officers that are at least like blue belts in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because it'll make them so much more confident in physical alterations, and it'll prevent them from going to the lethal resorts.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. And that's the thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of these guys should not just touch on it here and there once or twice a week or once or twice a year, but they should be
training.
Like some jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, something, anything. But you'll find a lot of the time, whether law enforcement or, you know, and just anything in the security industry, the people get complacent. They make a lot of money. They just want to go home. And I get it. I mean, I don't, because I don't have a family of my own. And I mean, I still go and travel back home and I'll see them, but I have a lot that I do. But it's like, you're not just, trying to keep this person alive, but it's for yourself too, like, so you can come home to your wife and kids. But for whatever reason, I think a lot of people, either in law enforcement or the security industry, they shy away from it. And that was one of the reasons why I liked getting into the whole defensive tactics portion, was because, I could work with a lot of people that are either shy away from it or just trying to, help them see how this type of work, even if it's just, once a month. I'm trying to get people to do it more than once a month, but it can make a huge difference, but it's hard.
No, yeah. I'm assuming, just like, well, here's the thing though, you had a lifetime full of hand-to-hand combat, and then when it came time to do the work on the range, you did.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not as if it's insurmountable, or like just maybe a little bit of a, I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to badmouth anybody, nor do I want it to seem like I am.
Yeah.
I just think it says a lot about people when they are very acutely aware of one aspect of their job, but then have the hubris or have the grace to understand that they need to learn the full spectrum.
Like what they're weak in.
Yes.
I mean, I think, how do I say this without sounding terrible?
And I'm not trying to badmouth anybody.
And that's the same thing too that I'm not trying to do here. But it's just as far as, because women, like, they know that they're terrible at certain things, and they will do it. They don't care how terrible they look, and then it's just like the technique, everything is beautiful, like in a short period of time. When it comes to men, I think, especially when it's working with another woman, especially that has all these accolades and has done all of this as far as like combatives go, it's hard for them to kind of sit there and be like, well, I'm bigger, stronger, and I can muscle through a lot of this stuff. It's like, yeah, but you should still learn.
But how much better would you be if you didn't have to muscle through it and you had a little bit of technique?
Exactly.
You can only amplify how successful you are.
Exactly, and that's I think that's one of the harder things to get across when it comes to certain men that have done like these great things. They're either heroes or they were in law enforcement for a long period of time, but I don't know, man. Like, they just don't want to dive into the whole like combatives portion. It's just like,
Well, I can't make any comments because this is a world that I'm ignorant towards. I always think, regardless of the industry, regardless of the line of work, ignorance is never a course for success. And that if you're trying to be the best at whatever it is that you're doing, whatever that task is, I would always say that like more knowledge, not less, would always be more conducive to success.
And not only that, but just working on your weaknesses. Like, yeah, it's embarrassing to work on your weaknesses. Is
it though?
I mean,
just tell them, hey, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah,
Start
but
with that.
I think it's harder for men that have achieved a lot in certain fields and that they're supposed to be good at certain things.
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think it just like I don't think it has anything to do with success. I think it's like the men or the individual. It doesn't have to be like men. Like I don't care if I have, I could be a world class at something else, but then if you put me in the kitchen, I can't cook like a chef.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just not my world.
Yeah, it's just
so I don't care about telling you, hey, I'm not as good as you. I'd like to learn, or it doesn't have to, insert whatever example you want. I don't think it has anything to do with that ego of looking stupid. I think it is just ego in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a man, and on that side, so I couldn't tell you. But I mean, there have been a few, because I mean, anytime I go somewhere, anytime I'm on a certain team or work with people, I always open up the door to, if you want to learn more, I'm around. Like, it makes me better because you're learning, and we can, either lightly spar, or we can just do a lot of hand-eye coordination, a lot of movement. There are so many things that I can do with the partner that is not at my level, but is like working towards that, But I've had a handful of people the last 5 years in working in this industry that have taken me up on actually working with me, and I'm not charging any of these people. And I'm just like, you understand how much money I can make going back to teaching and the people that want to learn, like, and I'm offering this to you because you're supposed to have my six. We're supposed to work together. We're, making a team better, so to speak. And for whatever reason, I don't know. I mean, it could be time, people just don't have the time, but I don't know. It's weird to me.
Whenever someone tells me that time is the variable for inaction, it's not time, it's importance.
Yeah.
Because we'll make time for the things that are high on the totem pole, and we won't for the things that aren't. So whenever someone says like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have the time," no. What you really said is, "Oh, sorry, Ariane, you weren't as important as X, Y, and Z," which is fine. I don't take any insult to that, but don't tell me you don't have the time. What you really don't have is like, I am not as important as the other things that you were doing.
Yeah.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
I do have one last question for you.
Yeah.
So Chad has a promotion.
Yeah.
And I know that you like Muay Thai, and Chad has a fantastic Muay Thai promotion.
Yep.
And I know that I was at his last show, and he had Lordzilla on, and it was a fantastic showing. And you're not done fighting, and you like Muay Thai.
Yeah.
What are we gonna see you anytime soon?
We've had a conversation about
you
it.
And Chad?
Huh?
You and Chad?
Yeah.
Oh no shit. Okay.
Yeah, I'm chopping at the bit. I'm 100% like, let's fucking do it.
Hell yeah.
So we'll see. I've lost a ton of weight, and I'm still working on losing more. It's just about getting in fight shape. Like I said, I can wake up and I can fight Muay Thai in my sleep. Like, I love it. That's how much I love it.
What weight would you want to fight at if you did?
It would most likely be at 125, between 125 and 130.
Okay.
Probably closer to
now,
130.
Like 45, 50?
Shit.
The
last time I walked around with that weight.
Well, no, I mean,
yeah, a little heavier. Good. Like when I was fighting, at 25, I was walking around at between 155, 157. I've always been a lot heavier than I look. I'm just dense. At 115, I was walking around at 145. Right now, I've just broke 160 for the first time in a long time. So I'm at about 158. I feel like if I can get to the 40s, which is like 49, I'll be like, let's go, let's sign this, let's find somebody.
Is there any part of you that I want last question on this actually. I feel like it'd be an inverse relationship between, and forgive me if this sounds offending, the ability to be effective at what you do and also becoming smaller. Mm-hmm. So like in the pursuit of possibly cutting weight for a fight, do you think that your performance in your job would be hindered because of it?
Cutting weight for a fight?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think even cutting to like 115 where I had nothing in me at all, I felt like I was sharp. So, and if I'm faster, I think in this line of work, as long as I don't, because I still understand when it comes to men and women, they're always going to be bigger, stronger, faster. And if I find somebody that's even half of...
Well, that's not men and women. That's men and men.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm 5'7", $180. There's a lot of bigger, stronger guys than me.
Yeah. I think as long as I'm... I forgot where it was. Oh, as far as being smaller. I don't think it's that much of an issue if I'm faster, unless somebody gets a hold of me. But I think if somebody gets a hold of me either way, or when it comes to being a man, I think it's going to be a problem. It's going to be hard, which is one of the reasons why I like to stay sharp in what I do. Because even if they do get a hold of me, it's still I have a few seconds or a few different techniques that I can work through quickly to either put them to sleep or get the hell out of Dodge. Or get
Or
if
break
I have
distance,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or get to where I need to go. I think I'll still have an advantage. But in like cutting weight and getting down to weight for something like that, no, I think I'd be sharper.
Well, here's me saying, I hope. I know he's got a card, I think in September.
September.
Oh, okay. So I was right. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see what the future holds.
I don't know. You know, but it's one of those things. I think the only reason why I'm like, I don't know if I'll do that, because you hear all these people talking shit about everybody that, you know, that does it at over 40, especially like now that like Gina Ronda doing it, like people are talking so, but then again, I'm like, why do I fucking care? It's usually those people. Those people are the ones that have not done much in their life.
When ever in your career has there been people that didn't talk shit?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If I won by decision, I wasn't a finisher. If I finished them, it's because I didn't have a gas tank. If I got the knockout, I didn't have a ground game. If I got a submission, I don't have hands.
Yeah.
There's always criticism.
Something. Yeah.
So who the fuck cares?
Yeah, and that's the thing. But, you know, women, it's just one of those things, like you hear it and you're like, fuck you.
Do you feel like you need to prove them wrong?
I don't think so. I think more so, especially for Muay Thai. I think it's just one of those things. Like if I want to do
it for fun.
That's the only reason why I want to do it.
I'm doing a jiu-jitsu show for fun, and I'm not trying to shit on jiu-jitsu. Sorry, guys, love y'all. I had one person like, "Oh, you got a fight coming up?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I got a match. I got a match."
Yeah, I mean that's hard too, though. And that was one of the things.
Is it though?
It is though. Like that was one of the things that I wanted to do.
It's not a fight.
No, it's not, but it's difficult and it's hard.
Agreed. I don't want to. Damn it! Now I'm going to sound like an asshole. You're right. You are right. You remember when we were talking about like the emotions?
Yeah.
I hope you get those for a Muay Thai fight. I don't feel anything about this jiu-jitsu match.
I get
Does that make sense?
I get it. But then again, I think I got it for jiu-jitsu only because it was so new to me when I started competing. But anytime I found success in that too, it was just one of those things like, why was this shit so hard?
Yeah.
It's because, you know, it was different. But that's one of the things I wanted to do when I retired, if I ever did, was compete in jiu-jitsu again. But it's like I haven't been able to find a place where I'm going to be comfortable.
To train.
Yeah, to train. So that's the only thing. I think eventually I'll get to that point where, you know, I'm at a place and I'm training because I love jiu-jitsu. Like I love it, and more than anything.
So do I. I'm not trying to besmirch the martial art.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, but man, I'd rather kick somebody in the head.
I know.
Because it's just, you know, it's just one of those things.
I just don't want to cut weight.
Yeah,
and I don't. I'm lazy now. I've become civilized, man.
Yeah. You know, and I eat well now. Like I can actually pay for a good meal.
That quote,
and I do.
It's hard to wake up in the middle of the night when you're sleeping in silk sheets.
Exactly, and that's where I am right now. I'm like, all alone in my silk sheets. Good meal. Like I have to get up at what time and do what? Bro?
Shit.
Yeah, but
how much are you paying me to do that?
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is like I want to do that now. Like especially, come on, like Muay Thai, you're not gonna get paid anything. It was the same thing like when I was fighting for as long as I was. It's like, oh, you're making a lot of money. I'm a professional athlete, world-class professional athlete, but I wasn't making shit. Like for that world title.
I made more from my ticket commissions than I did my purse.
Same. Like I made more from my own sponsorships, from negotiating my own contracts where I would get in trouble for those. Because managers that I had at the time were just like, you can't.
Where's my 10%?
Yeah, exactly. I gave you shit. I had to negotiate my own contract for this. But yeah, I was making more money because I was the one doing the work, you know?
I made more money at the end of the year on my taxes, itemizing my mileage on my vehicle and my training expenses than I did from fighting.
Yeah.
I made more from like my tax savings.
I was at a loss every single year. And because we have a tax business as well. So like that was the thing was like, how the hell am I living in the Bay Area, fighting on a fighter's pay? And I was teaching. I was like driving Uber too. It seemed like how am I doing all of this and I'm still losing money. Like, because I was paying into nutrition, I was paying into recovery. Everybody's like, oh, you get all this free gear and this and that. You get to go places. I'm like, I'm poor as shit.
Free gear. Oh,
yeah,
great.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not making anything.
Save $60 on some gloves. Appreciate you.
Exactly. And it's like, okay. I mean, but I loved it. I'll complain about it here and there because of the money I didn't make.
We sound like some salty bitches.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am a little bit, but, especially now because I see how much these girls are making. I'm like, damn. But then again.
But also good for them. I don't cry over milk that I didn't even have to spill.
Yeah.
And what someone else eats does not make me shit. But, you do look at that and you start thinking, what if? Yeah.
5 years. If you would have just, waited I would have been 5 years younger and started 5 years later. Oh man, it would have been different. But I'm happy. I'm good where I am, and I don't know. Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah. Before we put a cap to this one, and by the way, thank you again for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to say or a topic you want to broach before we put an end to this?
I don't know. Can you think of anything?
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high.
I know it's the most cheesy thing. I have a buddy right now who is he went short on oil futures right before Trump told India that they could buy Russian oil, and I'm pretty sure he is not a happy camper today. So it is what it is.
Yeah. There's I don't know, patience. I think. I don't know how it would work into that, but like everything that I have or don't have in my life has come from not having patience. So, however you can, I don't know.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Because I think in sport, not having patience, it was one of those things like, well, I can get myself to where I want to go, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can. And that's, I mean, not even just in sport, in career now too. It's like. But when you have, I guess, another person that you're tagging along to that, it's like it doesn't really work that way.
No.
I don't know. I can go a bunch of different directions, but I think that's just what I'm doing now. So.
Well, God bless. I wanted to thank you for coming in. I hope this was enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it was good. We should do it again.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be here for a while, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know we can't talk too much about like the details on that, but no, I'd be absolutely, especially if you do decide to compete again, I'd love to sit down.
Oh, yeah.
And then hash that out.
We'll find it. What month are we in? March? April, May? We should know within
a couple months.
Yeah. If I look a little slimmer in the next month or two.
I might not announce it, but there'll be signs.
Yeah, exactly. If you see a six-pack, that's a problem. She's going to try to punch somebody in the face.
Well, that's an opportunity. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in. It was
Absolutely.
an absolute joy. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.